Where's our people?
Where's everybody?
We spent the whole first season living with the people who got in.
Right.
Who survived.
Yes.
Who were elite enough to get in there. And now we kind of see the other side of the coin.
I think it's also a statement. Like, we're not redoing season 1. This is a very different season.
Yes.
Hello and welcome to Road Goes Ever On and On. Today, guest host Dawn and I are talking about Paradise Season 2, Episode 1.
Graceland!
Graceland! So spoilers are ahead. And quick thank you to our channel members for continuing to support us. You guys are the absolute best people. Thank you so much. Now, let's get into the episode. Okay, so this one was interesting because up until the very end, where's Sterling?
Where's our people?
Where's everybody? How did you feel about this?
I mean, it was a big change. I was at least expecting Sterling.
Yes.
You know, like, he's my guy. I thought he'd be there for me.
Yes.
So it did take a moment to adjust to stranger danger, you know? Also, I couldn't place the actress for the majority of the episode, which drove me crazy. If anyone wants to know, she's the chick from the Divergent movies, but it made me crazy.
You know what it reminded me a little bit of?
What?
I think you can probably guess. Maybe not. The Last of Us. Season 1, I don't remember where it is. Episode 4 or 5-ish, I'm guessing.
Okay.
There is that side story that doesn't have a lot of impact in the main story. Now, I know that this one actually is going to have an impact on the main story, but it had that feeling of being an almost unrelated, barely related, how is it related vignette.
Yeah.
That is telling this, you know, this is almost like a complete story in and of itself before it kind of gets back to, okay, let's get back into the show.
I agree. Although you did love that episode.
I loved it.
This Is Us. But I think that...
The Last of Us.
Sorry. You did love that episode of The Last of Us.
The Last of This Is Us.
The Last of This Is Us.
If we combine both those worlds.
I get it. Okay. But I do think that this one was interesting in that it told kind of the other side of the coin. We spent the whole first season living with the people who got in. Right. Who survived.
Yes.
Who were elite enough to get in there.
Not just the lucky few, but like they were hand selected,
yes.
You know, so it was a manicured group.
This hand chosen select group. And now we kind of see the other side of the coin. Like, what was it like for people who, one, didn't even know? Like, some of the people that we saw in season 1 didn't know this was coming. Obviously, they built the bunker, you know, and then...
But there were a lot of people that weren't privy to that. I mean,
that is true.
Even Xavier didn't know. And, you know, Cal just kept hinting to him.
Well,
like,
he knew that there was something. He was in the meeting in the Oval Office where they said that
he knew that there was
happening.
a go to shit plan, but he didn't know why.
Right.
And once he got on board the plane, I don't think he knew the rest. Yeah. So for all he knew, they could have just been going to like Martha's Vineyard or just like a regular bunker, not like a whole. Like he didn't know what came next.
Right. But so it was interesting to see these people who were living their everyday life, you know, doing tours and whatnot to just kind of see how it went down and how traumatizing it was. And what do? You know, it's one thing when you're, you know, in your home or you're in a familiar place and you know where things are and you know where supplies are and you can get to them. If you're on a tour bus, you're probably nowhere near your home. You know, you have literally what's on you. You're not near a building that you're familiar with that you can like call your own, that you can hide in, whatever. Like, you're just kind of at the mercy of whatever's around you. So I did think that it was an interesting story to kind of see how it was for everybody else.
I think it's also a statement. Like, this episode lets you know that we're not redoing season 1. This is a very different season.
Yes.
You know, we talked in our last video about the fact that the last season started off as a political thriller. And while it grew to include other categories, it still always had that feeling of being a political thriller. Whereas this one has expanded that scope. It's showing you that there is so much more to the world. And I think that this has unintentionally let us know that there is so much more surprise-wise coming, because season 1, episode 1, they were itching to hit you with the surprise of it's underground. And they set that up with these interesting little clues, right? And this episode, I feel like they know that they've hooked us. They're taking a little bit more time.
Mm-hmm.
They clearly have more secrets and more surprises. It's not just that we're going to explore the outside world.
Yeah.
There's something else going on. There's more tricks to this.
Mm-hmm.
And I think season 1 potentially was just less of like the actual direction of the show and more of just like the interesting starting point. It was what got everything moving from this one pivotal thing that kind of awakened people's questions to, should we trust everybody? What else is going on? But I think there's more.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Okay, so what do you think of our new character, Annie?
I think that she is interesting. I think I actually would have liked to have cut out the first 20 minutes of. I think I would have liked one of two things.
Okay.
Split this into 2 episodes to give us like that first 20 minutes of backstory and actually flesh it out, because I didn't feel like I had enough time to care for her mom. I didn't feel like I had enough time to care for Gail, her friend. It all happened both so quick, but also so long, because that, like I said, that took like 20 minutes for all of that to happen before we got to what I really felt were like the meat and potatoes.
Yeah.
Her character was very interesting though. And I think that you see that she's got real depth, and that we do see that what happened with her mom and her Gail is what has her so guarded. I think that's what allows some of the second part to kind of flourish, is because she's resigned herself to loneliness.
Yes. I think I think it's less Gail, more her mom. She's pretty young when her mom dies, it looks like. I mean, they don't say how old she is, but I mean, I'm gonna guess she's an early teenager, maybe.
I think it was a different actress for there was like a young Gail.
I mean, I'm gonna say she's like between 11 and 13, maybe. I mean, she's old enough to be competent, to be left alone, to have tasks.
Buy her own Pringles.
Yeah, buy her and pick up meds. Like she's competent. Yeah. She's confident. She's not gonna get, she's got some street smarts. Maybe it doesn't look like an overly wealthy home. It looks like, maybe she's living the middle class. Like she's not living on the high end of things. Like she's living, I don't see any evidence of.
But there must have been money at one point, because medical school is not cheap. Both of them did the same medical school. Her mom went to Duke.
Her mom went to Duke. So I do think that there definitely probably was some, and maybe that's how she gets
I think
money,
there's the lack of money coming in because her mom didn't do the career like she had, or it didn't last long. I don't know.
Yeah. But she seems like a very, I guess what I'm trying to say is not about her money status, but she's very grounded.
Yeah.
She's very aware of the world, to say, and
I think had to grow up at a young age.
Yeah. She had to grow up quick.
Yeah.
And she says that at the dinner table at the end of the visit, where it's like, the life before wasn't very kind to me. So she's got a lot of trauma packed in that before time.
Yeah.
I mean, to the fact that she had to drop out of medical school because what appears to be maybe PTSD-ish type reaction to seeing a patient that reminds her of her mom.
Yeah.
Obviously she's smart. She gives the other student the answer. Like, she's very smart. She knows it, but when faced with it herself, it's triggering in some capacity.
Yes.
So I think the mom is supposed to be like the big impact on her. Her friend Gail, like that. I mean, that's
it's happening all over again. And I think that she gave herself very quickly into the idea of having the Gail friend. I don't think that she, after her mom and then Gail as the second one, I think that really closed her off. I don't think that she'd necessarily closed her off before her mom. I think her mom hurt. Her mom hurt a lot. It was a huge loss. living that again with Gail, that probably like re-brought up the memories, and then also had it happen through this other person. And so that, I think, potentially kind of like solidified, okay, that's...
Yeah. No, I can see that. I feel like in the home, we didn't see any other imagery of siblings or a father figure. So I imagine like once her mom died, she was alone. You know, maybe she was passed around family or foster care, however, you know, but I feel like it was probably pretty lonely. And then I agree, living it again with Gail was probably brought those to the surface, but she was much more composed. Like,
yes.
There was no hesitation with Gail's injury, like with the hospital when we first met, when she was a student. We saw that hesitation, that freezing, that like takes your breath away, almost like a panic attack.
Yeah.
We didn't see that with Gail. She was very calm. She was very confident. She was very
composed, but it was a withdrawal. It was like I'm going to be very, like, I can do this, but I need to be self-reliant, and I can't depend on others being around. I can't depend on them after Gail died.
Okay, I'm saying
like
before.
that kind of like solidified that.
And I don't know at what point it felt like when I watched the episode a second time, it did feel like pretty early on she realized that this wound wasn't healing properly. She said, like, in the very beginning, I'm worried about infection.
Yeah.
Then she let her go outside and walk around. But she never seemed like, when she was changing the bandages, she never seemed shocked that it wasn't healing right. She like never really showed any emotion on her face about how the wound looked. And I wonder, and then at the end, like, she knew what was happening. You can tell she didn't panic. She stayed calm. Yeah. She spoke calmly to her and like, you know, you're doing a great job, you know. So I do feel like at some point she came to terms with what was going to happen. Yeah. Unlike with her mom, where it was a shock. She's, you know, saw her mom left, came back. I feel like at this time she did have a little bit of time to process it. And then, yes, that was like day 46 that Gail died. Mm-hmm. She buried her. You see her outside screaming.
Tried to. I don't think she did.
Oh, did she not?
She was trying to get into like Elvis's grave.
I couldn't tell.
And she couldn't get there. It's frozen solid.
No, I that's why I was kind of surprised that she was. I saw her throw the pickaxe, but I thought that she had gotten in there. So I misunderstood that scene. But
these relationships were so quick that, like, I understand that they were important backstory to help us understand why she tries so hard to keep the men out when they come in. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't think you have to be traumatized by death to want to keep men out as a woman. That's all I'm saying.
So I thought that was a phenomenal scene, because I think it probably triggered the same feeling in most, if not all, women. Yes. Which is like, good or bad, 5-6 dudes coming into your house is just a terrible feeling.
Yes. Also, he dragged her out from the bed.
Yes.
Like,
which,
if you want to be like a nice guy, kneel down, say hi. Like, I mean, maybe he didn't know it was a woman, and so maybe he was prepared for a fight if it was a dude or something, but that's not the nicest way to meet a new person.
In this world, I can see an argument for make sure that they're not armed first.
Right.
And then after that, you can be like, look, I know that was extremely rude. I know that you're probably rug burned and scared and offended by what I just did, but we can cook you up some bacon. We're going to make it up to you. We just want to make sure that you weren't going to try and shoot us. Because
then he like pushes her into a chair and like forces her to sit down while like all the men like circle around her.
Yeah. Yeah. But it was also a really interesting kind of twist on what you expect to happen, because I think in all of those situations where door gets kicked down, you get dragged out from under the bed like that, it's never good. It's never good. It's never good. And so it was quite the kind of surprise that it turns out that these are seemingly good people. Yeah. Also, they kicked the door in. So, like, did they fix the door before they left? Just, you know, just thrown out there as like breaks the image. Like, they didn't kick her door in. So what did you think of the group? It's an interesting group, and it's interesting that they've taken on code names, all of them. You know, it feels it's been 3 years, I guess, around 3 years since everything.
Close. Maybe more like 2 years, because I think it went from like day 46 is when Gail died to day 638 or something like that. It was a 600 number, which is, there's 365 days in a year. So it's roughly like 2.5-ish years.
It definitely seemed like a much more childish or boyish thing to do, to like have these like adventuring names that they take on. So quite the interesting group. And I assume we'll get to know more of them, because they did all seem to have a personality based off their name, at least.
Yeah.
You know, so we've got Chef, who obviously cooks. We have Geiger, Link, Gator, Urkel, and Big Poppy. Surprisingly enough, is like the botanist.
Okay.
So I did think this was an interesting group of people, and you can see that they've spent time and they've got this camaraderie. They have, you know, habits and that they've formed, as far as like, you know, what is it? What have you missed? Like what do you not miss?
Yeah.
From the world. So it obviously also means that like that seemed like something that they share with other people that they meet.
Well, they definitely said the story. It was like, this is the part that I tell. Okay, this is the part that you tell.
Yes.
This is the part that Urkel tells. Like,
yes,
they all kind of have their role in this group and in this story. And so, I mean, it seems like a really clutch group to have in a post-apocalyptic world.
Yes.
You know, honestly, all they're missing is kind of the doctor, which you feel like she's maybe going to become part of. That would kind of complete their group. Like,
right. Yes. And especially with, you know, if they're like decommissioning
power plants
like that.
Nuclear plants.
Yes. So like this seems like, and breaking into places, you know, like they don't have one central base that they get to just stay in. Like that does seem like could potentially be a scary world, especially we see through Annie when she's looking through the telescope, you know, that there's like marauders, looters, murderers out there.
Yeah.
And then it's also alluded to the fact that Arkansas isn't where you want to go to. So it definitely seems like there are tough pockets, which is what you would expect with, once again, we haven't really seen that in this world yet.
Right. Right.
So we're just getting those hints, and I don't know if we're going to finally get to this.
Yeah.
But I did like this vignette, at least especially the middle portion. Like I said, the first portion was a little too fast for me.
Okay.
I would have liked to have cut it off and somehow show her trauma in some other shorter, less than 20-minute way.
Okay.
And spend more time in this like story of meeting people, of opening your heart back up, and then what ends up possibly happening of like them leaving and you deciding to stay. And I wonder if that's, you know, I said that she knew that like people go at some point and she was going to be self-sufficient. And I wonder if there was a part of that where it's like she wanted to make that choice. And this was now just like a defense mechanism.
Maybe. I mean, she's in a safe place. I mean, she's survived. This place has kept her alive, you know, and they want her to go out, you know.
Mm.
I mean, I don't know. She said that
Tennessee to Colorado on foot.
They have a car. They have a vehicle and some bikes. That's how they got it, and they rammed through it.
Yeah.
But also, she did say like Graceland is her safe place.
Mm-hmm.
So she already felt safe there because it connects her to her mom.
Yeah.
You know, it kept her alive. It gave her a purpose. Like that's probably pretty hard to leave and to follow this group into the unknown without. And she kind of, I mean, she got like a week to meet before them to figure them out, become friends, whatever, for them to leave. And she didn't have a ton of time, and she's got a horseback.
It's also interesting that her connection to Graceland is through her, like so much of her is her mom.
Yeah.
She did the same, you know, education that her mom did. I don't know if she went to the same school, but she did medical school just like her mom. She followed in her mom's footsteps of being this Elvis fanatic, even though she personally isn't. When she's finally faced with that question of what's your favorite, it takes a long time for her to answer. It's clear that that's not something that she just has on her. So there's so much of that attachment. So maybe that was like symbolically leaving her mom at that point,
Yeah.
and she wasn't ready for that.
Right.
But we do get, right around this point, some very interesting things that I know that we're going to be getting into, which is that they're going to Colorado,
Mm-hmm.
and something about killing Alex,
Right.
which I don't
know who Alex is.
Oh, that's what I was thinking. We haven't heard.
Yeah, I couldn't think of anyone in the first season that was named Alex.
Yeah, and I not like cheating go through IMDb, but for when we're doing stuff like this, I like to have my pronouns ready so I sound like I know what I'm talking about. And so I've like collected a list of, the episodes we've watched of the names of people as we do episodes, and I didn't see an Alex on that. So it's like I was pretty sure that we haven't.
It could be a code name, one of their handles.
Right.
It could be short for something.
Right.
Like Alexander Hamilton. I don't know. I made that up.
Yeah.
So it could be a handle, could be a character we didn't meet the first season, or we like saw but didn't have a speaking line, and maybe we just saw them out and about. Maybe it's the duck guy. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I thought it was interesting that they knew about Colorado. Who do you think maybe they were before, in the before time, that maybe they got a hint of this? Are they somebody in the group from Colorado? Like maybe they saw people building it. Maybe one of them was workers or was related to a worker. I'm interested how that came to be. The
killer from last season is trying to tell the world.
That's true.
And I know that nobody was listening, but there's always, with the internet, there's always the dark corners of the internet that, the band together.
Right.
And I'm sure that anybody that was listening was probably conspiracy theorists, so I don't think it got to a large population.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe through that, it just got to kind of the right people.
The right people, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that does make sense. Same with the guy. Okay, first I have two questions on this part.
Okay.
I need to know if the nuclear football can actually do the blue code. Is that real?
I mean, they said nobody knew this.
Yeah,
so,
and now we all know it.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious. Anyways, I did think it's interesting that Urkel considered that.
Yes.
Did they tell us what Urkel did or what he was? Or they just called him Urkel and then he talked about that, which, I mean, if you're old enough to know who Urkel is, then you get it.
Yeah.
So I thought that was an interesting, connection that is a thing. I was thinking about that because it obviously affected the batteries in their flashlights.
Yes.
Going back and thinking about season 1, I feel like he put those codes in while they were on the plane.
There were apparently a series of, so an EMP has a range to it. And so there were a series of these EMPs, and I would assume that maybe this system knows where you are and it hits that area last, or it has a small area around your geolocation that it doesn't hit. But EMP, I'm not aware of an EMP that could cover the entire Earth. So
because it's a government secret.
And now the plane wouldn't have been safe from this, but there are ways to protect electronics from EMPs, because we actually, Mark and I talked briefly about this.
I was like, where is this going?
With the show Pluribus.
Okay.
A Faraday cage could be a way to protect something from electromagnetic waves like that. So it would absorb them and it would route them into the floor instead of having them affect that. So anybody that had their electronics in that, or I think it won't fry certain circuits if it's not connected to batteries. So that there are ways that not everything in devices would be affected, and that you could rebuild devices by if something's fried, it's fried. If a chip in something is fried, that's it. But you can unsolder it, and if you have 4 devices and you have each one has a different thing wrong with it, you could potentially Frankenstein them together with all the working pieces.
Got it.
So they're not definitely stuck in this world.
Okay.
If they've got an Urkel in their corner, I think.
Well, and the group was, I think they had a car and some were riding bicycle or not bicycles, but bikes.
Yes.
Motorbikes. But I was just thinking when he said that, because we saw from the killers, from the librarian's story, that people were like waiting in line in cars
Yes.
to get into the bunker. So that would be a real downer if you're waiting in line, you know, and then the president pushes the button and your car dies.
Yeah.
But I guess that's the risk you take.
Yeah. And modern cars would be worse off because there are so many
computers.
That's where it'll really screw you. I think the older cars are more likely to.
Right. And that's why they wanted to see Elvis's cars. They wanted to get the old car parts.
Yes. And then we finally have at the very end, after like an hour-long episode, and like I said, I actually thought it was really good. I thought it was an interesting vignette. We finally see that this does connect back to the main storyline.
In not a great way.
Not for Xavier.
Not for Xavier. No.
Yeah.
You think he's dead?
Is he alive? Is he alive?
Is he dead? Is he dead?
I think so.
I think he's alive.
Think so.
I think he's alive.
I think this, as you mentioned with the last video when we talked about season 1, that even when they killed characters, they would possibly bring them back with flashbacks. So people aren't necessarily always dead. With that melodrama, I think you can have some of those fake outs. I don't think there was nobody super major that died in season 1. I think Billy was the closest.
I mean, the president.
The president, but that was literally episode. That's what set everything in motion. I know. And then he was in basically every episode after that. Yeah. So we didn't really lose him.
Right.
And we didn't know him before we lost him. So, so I'd say Billy was the closest, and definitely a good one.
Yeah.
But they weren't offing characters, and it wasn't the main ones. So I don't think this is the type of show where we're going to lose Xavier.
The star. Not the star.
Plus, he came from This Is Us, didn't he?
Yeah.
They've got,
said that in the last video.
Yeah, I don't think.
He was one of the triplets. He was the one who was adopted. It's cute. Anyways. So they mentioned, I was wondering about this. She mentioned when they said that they were taking some kind of vitamin. Can't remember what it was.
Yes.
She said, why are you taking this? It's not going to help against radiation poisoning. And he said, we know. And then later, before they leave, you see that he gets like blurry vision and his nose starts bleeding. You think that that's radiation poisoning? Like, do you think we're going to lose him? Like, are these guys sick? Is that what this world...
I don't think we're going to... He's on the main poster for season 2.
Spoiler alert.
Pretty well said. That's not a spoiler.
That's true.
So I think he's pretty central to it. And I think we'll keep him for a good chunk of it.
Okay. I mean, yeah. The nosebleed made me think of Stranger Things. That was the first place my mind went.
Okay.
Was like, are we going in the upside down? Like, is this going to take a weird turn that's unexpected?
Yeah, I assume maybe there's like radiation something.
That's what I assume it's some sort of sickness or illness.
Yeah.
But, we'll see where that goes. I thought that, and the fact that she's a doctor, like maybe that would be part of it too. But yeah, I mean, we haven't seen any other, well, we saw the hospital, I guess. We assume that there's doctors in the bunker.
Yeah.
But I feel like that, if you were going to make a team, post-apocalyptic team.
Yes.
You could have, let's say you can have 5 people in it. What do you
Donatello, Leonardo, Raphael. There's clearly one of the Ninja Turtles I've forgotten.
I honestly wasn't listening to you. Leonardo, Donatello, Raphael, and Michelangelo.
I definitely have all 4 of them. And then Splinter would be the...
Splinter.
Yeah.
That's who you're bringing?
Yeah. I mean, like, what... They've already been post-apocalyptic, right? Like, they've already been exposed to the ooze. What's the...
You know what? You're not wrong. Donatello does machines. Leonardo leads. Donatello does machines. Raphael is cool but rude. Michelangelo's a party dude. Yeah. No, I watched Ninja Turtles. That's literally the theme song.
But this seems like a good mix, and it does seem like they were manicured. Link even said the thing about the reason that Geiger saved me wasn't because he cared about me, loved me. Yeah. But it's because he needed my help. So I think it seems like Geiger is potentially the type of person that you have to be able to earn your keep.
Yeah.
everybody has, like, Chef is probably the one that keeps them fed so they can continue doing their things, and that each of them has another important task in decommissioning, these power plants.
Because we see Link's college ID, which is a random thing for him to be carrying in a post-apocalyptic world.
It is.
And in his like front pocket. But he went to
Caltech.
Caltech.
Yeah.
Which is a very smart school. Iffy smart. So is he stepping on Urkel's toes there? Do they have I don't know.
Maybe you need lots of smart people, and there are like different specialties within. I was going to say there's
a lot of science specialties. So yes. I don't know what he does, but I mean, and he doesn't really say what he does. Like I played Zelda a couple times, but it says they call me Link because of Zelda.
Yeah.
He's like the party leader, but I don't know what he does. Like, does he have any special abilities?
Link is a loner, and he doesn't talk much, so it's hard to.
Well, that guy kind of seemed like the group.
Geiger came off as the leader to me. I think Link was, to a certain extent, was kind of the Romeo. Yes. But obviously, clearly is smart if he also went to Caltech. So he's got, he's got looks and he's got smarts.
My kind of guy.
Yeah. And then you've got like Big Poppy is both like, the muscle of the operation and the botanist. I mean, you probably need multitaskers. Like I think that if you have a small group, you can't just have people that can only do one thing, or if that's all they need to do it amazingly. Yes. That needs to be a core thing. And they need to be able to do that primarily without other people's help. So it's they really are like you have to be able to carry your weight. So if you're just a smart dude and that's only useful when you get to the play, I think they do need some versatility.
I do think I know that the first season was full of flashbacks.
Yes.
And this episode we didn't really get flashbacks, but the story told it kind of linearly.
Yeah.
However,
I could say that like the first 20 minutes are almost like montagey, like could have been.
Fair. I did really like the shot. So after the group leaves and she's walking through different portions of the house, and everyone like it changes and you like see her belly growing, but it's like a music montage and she's like walking around and you kind of see the progression of time without them having to wait for, I'm assuming she's like 6 or 7 months pregnant.
Right.
Ish. Maybe more, but you don't have to like watch her do these, daily tasks for however many months. Like you can kind of, and they don't just do a jump. Like before they were doing like day 46, day 600 and whatever. Like this one, you kind of get to see her. And I thought I like the music that was kind of over top of it as she just walked from room to room. The lighting changed, the scenery changed. I thought it was a well done scene that I enjoyed.
There's been good use of music in this show, and leading into like when she goes out on horseback, there's very strong music during that scene, and it's making it very clear that something serious is about to happen, and you don't know what until you know what.
I think she thinks it's Link, because right before she sees the crash, she looks in her telescope, and then it shows the map that says "I'll be back," and then she opens it to see kind of like where like. Okay, they're in Arkansas. So maybe she's just using the map, but they do start with the like, I'll be back. So I'm wondering if she initially thought that it was Link coming back for her.
Yeah.
Because for someone who's a loner and chose not to go with that group, for her as a 7-month pregnant woman to get on a horseback and ride, I don't know. It seems like maybe it takes her 24 hours. I have no idea to get there. Like, that's got to be a driving force. Yeah. She's not just going to go out there for a stranger, especially the fact that she's going into a known kind of dangerous place. She wouldn't just risk that for anybody. I think she thinks it's Link.
That makes a lot more sense. And I think that potentially shows that
she got regrets.
And maybe now she's ready to leave this, Yes. Because now she has a connection to somebody else. Mm-hmm. Before, I think there was always the connection to her mom. Mm-hmm. And I think with this baby, she potentially, that's, for a lot of people, that's like the start of a new life.
Right.
And I think that might be what that signifies for her.
But that is kind of also the fact that she thinks that this man is trying to kill somebody. They want to get into this bunker and kill Alex. Like, that might be conflicting, to like think that you've met this like very kind, sensitive, but like morally sound individual, and for it to turn in like, he's going to murder somebody,
right?
That, and maybe that's the world they live in, and she's accepted that,
right?
One of the first things she did last season or this episode, I guess, was grab a gun. She was ready.
Yeah.
But then she never fired on the 6 men that walked into her home. So I thought it was a good episode. I am excited for the season. It's not what I thought, but I am pleasantly surprised.
And I'm happy. I was surprised. Like it was, I think, setting the expectations of don't expect.
Right.
So it's like, be surprised.
Yes.
And I think that there will be bigger surprises. More is coming. Like with all of the secrets and surprises we saw in season 1, more is brewing.
I think so.